Hey class, happy Monday. Today we're going to start the first day of solving literal equations. And this will be the last section of our chapter 1 here. And this is sometimes these literal equations sometimes are challenging because these equations are basically going to be full of letters. All right, so far up to this point, we've been solving equations with just that one letter x, right, that we solve for x. But this last section, we're going to have multiple letters, but we're going to still use those same ideas, those same concepts that we've done so far. So if we take a look here on problems 1, 2, and 3, right, these should all be kind of familiar to us, right? We've done these types of equations before, all right? So we're going to start this section by kind of doing a review here, all right? So if you look at number 1, all right, again, the things that I'm writing down here on my notes, right, you should copy down on your notes as well, right? We're going to be on the page 25 today. All right, so number 1 says we have -7 equals 11 minus 2x. All right, so we're asked to solve for x here. So just like anytime we solve an equation, right, we're always going to start kind of by putting that line down the middle here, right? And we want to get x all by itself. All right, so here's my x. All right, so I'm going to start undoing things that are happening to my x, right? It's being multiplied by that -2. Right? It is also being added by 11, right? And I say added by 11 because this 11 here, right, that's a positive 11. So to get rid of a positive 11, right, I'm going to use inverse operations, right? So I'm going to start undoing that 11, and I'm going to do my inverse of positive 11, which is minus 11, right? And what I do to one side of my equal sign, right, I must do to the other. All right, so I'm going to subtract 11 from both sides. All right, so I'm going to draw my line, and I'm going to look. I have -7 minus 11, right? I'm going to type that into my calculator. I'm going to get -18 here. All right, now -11 minus 11 is 0, right? Because it's canceled out because of that inverse operation. And I'm very carefully going to bring down this -2x, all right? That there is a minus sign in front of that 2x, so therefore it's a -2x. All right, so I got rid of that 11. Now I got to get rid of that -2, right? And remember what we said last week, right? When a number is attached to a letter, right, glued to that letter, right, that is multiplication, right? So to undo multiplication, I need to what? That's right, I need to divide here. All right, so now I'm going to divide this side by -2, right? That is my inverse operation of multiplying by -2. Again, what I do to one side of an equation, I must do to the other. All right, so now I'm ready to simplify, right? So on my left side here, I got -18 divided by -2. Well, that's going to give me a +9, right? A negative divided by a negative is a positive. And now I'm going to simplify that right side, right? These -2's cancel out, and I'm left with just that x. So I got my goal, right? I got x all isolated. X is equal to 9. All right, and number 2 here, right? This is that absolute value equation, right? We just finished up our quiz on Friday on absolute value equations. All right, so let's review and practice another absolute value one, right? So here, right, my first step is to isolate that absolute value expression, right? So I'm going to draw my line down the middle, right? And I look, okay, my absolute value bars are isolated on my left side here. All right, so now what are my two equations that I need to write? Perfect, let's see. Did we say that x plus 2 is equal to 8 as my first equation? And did we say that x plus 2 equals -8 for my second equation? All right, if not, that's okay. So hopefully now by doing this, that rings a bell here, right? So now I'm going to solve both of these equations by the exact same way, right? And that is inverse operations, right? What is happening to my x? Well, on my first equation here, my x plus 2 equals 8, right? It's my x is being added by 2. So to undo a +2, right, that's going to be a -2, right? That is that inverse operation. So now I drop down the x. These 2's cancel out. Might bring down my equal sign. And 8 minus 2 is 6. So there's my first solution. All right, I'm going to do the same exact thing for my other equation here, right? My x plus 2 equals -8, right? Again, getting x by itself, I have to subtract 2, right? I subtract 2 there, and I subtract 2 there. So again, I'm going to bring down my x. Right? My plus 2 minus 2 cancels out, right? Because that is the inverse operation, and that's what inverse operations does. All right, bring down my equal sign. But now I have a -8 minus 2, right? So again, I'm going to perform that operation with a calculator, right? We're not going to assume that the answer is -6 because it is not -6, right? A -8 minus 2 is going to be a -10. So there are my two solutions. All right, and then the last review problem here, right, is 7x minus 4 is equal to -3x minus 24. Well, on this type of equation here, right, if we notice, I have x's on my left side and I have x's on my right side. All right, so when we do these type of problems, right, we're going to take that variable term on the right, that -3x, and we're going to bring that over to the left side, right? And again, anytime we go across this equal sign, it's always inverse operations. So we're going to add 3x. We're going to add 3x. So now we're ready to simplify, right? So now we're going to go in order, right? We have 7x plus 3x. Well, 7 plus 3 gives me 10x. Right, I'm going to drop down this -4 equals a minus 3x plus 3 more x's cancels out. And I'm going to drop down this -24, right, or this -24 here. All right, just be careful with the negative signs, all right? If a minus sign out in front of a term, that means it's negative. All right, so now we're at 10x minus 4 equals -24, right? That's my brand new equation. So now, same thing, right? My goal is to get x by itself, right? So who's hanging out with x on my left-hand side here? Well, this 10 is being glued to it, and it's also being subtracted by 4. So that's right, I need to add 4 next. I need to add 4 next. So I'm going to bring down my -10x, I'm sorry, my 10x. These 4's cancel out. A -4 plus 4 is 0, which cancels out, equals, now again, I'm going to be careful because I have negatives here, right? I have -24 plus 4 gives me a -20. All right, and now one step away from getting x by itself, right? Since I have 10x, what is that inverse operation to get x by itself? That's right, the inverse operation is division, or dividing by 10, right? I gotta divide this side by 10, I gotta divide the other side by 10. So now we get x is equal to -2, right? -20 divided by 10 is a -2. Perfect, all right, so hopefully that little review here got your minds going with math, all right? So now we're gonna use these same ideas here, these same skills, these same concepts of getting a variable by itself for our new stuff here, right? For our new literal equations, all right? So we're gonna take a look at these two equations at the same time. All right, so on the left here, we have 2x plus 7 equals 15, right? This is a two-step equation. All right, and now if we look at the right equation, this is what a literal equation looks like, right? It's a bunch of letters, all right? It's mx plus b is equal to y, right? We see some commonalities here, right? I see an x on both. I see the addition sign, right? I have an equal sign, and I have a term or number or letter after my equal sign, right? On my left side, I got the 15. On my right side, it's equal to y. All right, so there's some commonalities between these. All right, so let's first do the very first step on my left side here on this two-step equation. All right, we have 2x plus 7 equals 15. All right, so my first step here to get x by itself is to subtract 7 from both sides. All right, so now pause. And now let's jump over to my right equation here. My mx plus b is equal to 11. All right, so this is asking us to solve for x. So again, here's my equal sign, right? We're gonna draw a line down the middle. All right, here's my x right here. All right, my x is being multiplied by m, right? They're glued together, and it's also being added by b. Okay, well, what did I do first on my left equation, right? It looks like I subtracted 7. So guess what? On this equation on my right here, I'm also going to subtract, except this time I'm going to subtract b. Right? When I do to one side of an equal sign, I must do to the other. All right, so now we're going to do a little jumping back and forth here, right? So now let's simplify my left side here, right? So on my left side, this 2x is going to be brought down, right? A plus 7 minus 7, well, that's 0. That cancels out. Equals, well, 15 minus 7 is 8. Right, so now I got 2x equals 8, right? Or 2 times x is equal to 8. All right, so now let's jump to the right side here. All right, so let's simplify this right equation. So this mx, right, we're going to bring down because I haven't touched it yet. A plus b minus b, well, that cancels out, right? That's 0. Just like a plus 7 minus 7 is 0, a plus b minus b is 0 as well. All right, but now it gets a little bit trickier, right? Now I have y minus b. Well, if we recall earlier in our first chapter, right, we cannot add like terms, right? Only like terms can be combined. So if I have y minus b and they are not like terms, I'm just going to leave it written as y minus t, just like that. Right, on my left side, 15 minus 7, those are like terms. So 15 minus 7 is 8. Well, y minus b is just y minus b. All right, and now I'm going back to the left side here. I have 2x is equal to 8. Well, now my very last step to get x by itself, right, is going to be to divide by 2. We're going to divide my left side by 2, and we're going to divide my right side by 2. And when I do that, my 2's cancel out, right, or simplify to 1. So we get x is equal, 8 divided by 2 is 4. So my solution on my left side is x is equal to 4. So now look at my right equation now. What do you think I should divide both sides by to get x all by itself? I'm hoping you said m. All right. Again, if you didn't, that's okay, because we're going to learn this, right? We're going to do these together. All right. So just like on my left side, I divided by 2 to get x by itself. On my right equation, I'm going to divide by m to get x by itself, right? Because m times x, well, the inverse operation of timesing by m is to divide by m. And what did I do to one side of an equal sign? Again, I must do to the other. All right, so my m's are going to cancel out, right? M divided by m is just 1. All right, so that means I get x by itself. And now I have y minus b divided by m. Well, none of those are like terms, so there is no simplifying. So I'm just going to rewrite it as y minus b divided by m. And that's going to be my answer, right? It's going to look a lot different from every other solution that we've done so far, but that's okay, right? That's what literal equation means, is that they're going to be a lot of letters in there. All right, so now let's just take a look at the step, right? And look at, there's only one step to do for all these, right? And that one step is to use inverse operations, right? That's all we're doing is using inverse operations, right? Adding and subtracting are inverse operations of each other, right? Just like multiplying and dividing are inverse operations, right? So we're going to use inverse operation to isolate the variable that we're looking for, right? Sometimes we're going to look for x, sometimes we're going to look for y, sometimes we're going to look for a, for b, for c, right? Whatever variable we're asked to solve for, we're just going to use those inverse operations to get that variable by itself. All right, and remember, we always start undoing what is furthest away from our variable to solve, right? We start with what's furthest away, and then we do one inverse operation at a time to get that x by itself. And that's all we're going to do today, right? We're going to stop right here at the bottom of page 25. And then tomorrow when we meet in class, right, we're going to review this again. and then start looking at page 26 to do some practice. All right, but we're going to save page 26 for tomorrow. And hopefully these notes made a little bit of sense today. All right, that's my goal, just a little bit of sense so that tomorrow we can start talking about this some more and do some more practice. All right, nice job. And we'll see you all tomorrow.